Catchy Connie and loudmouth Linda, keeping it real, no agenda. Satire, truth, and a whole lot of fun. Politics, crime, we get it all done. From breaking news to a joke or two, we do it our way just for you. We just can't make this stuff up. 1 year strong and we ain't gonna stop. Mic in hand, voices loud, shouting truth, making you proud.
Well.
That was a pause.
There's a pause. Well, hello. How's everybody this evening?
We're doing good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I can see you.
oh, there it
Hey,
is.
come on, Missy Bear.
I can.
Hello, KMM. So, Clyde, do you see the chat?
No.
So if I do this, do you see the chat?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody's had a good week. Everything's wonderful. Is it real or is it Memorex?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're real.
I can Memorex.
I think a lot of things are Memorex.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of things out there that the puzzle pieces just don't fit together. Remember that song when we were growing up? One of these things just doesn't belong here.
That would be me.
And you tell me which one. We're not talking. We're not talking about that. We're talking about things that our government tells us or whatever, and the puzzle piece just doesn't fit.
No.
No matter how you make it and try to make it fit, it just doesn't fit.
Nope.
I wanted to say real quick, I noticed that our favorite psychic came on and is talking about prepping. And I thought, I think we're ahead of the game, guys. What do you say? Think we knew this was coming before she knew it was coming?
I don't know.
Oh, no, KMM.
Wow.
Well, I will say everybody say a prayer for KMM in that area. Well, that puts you in the area too, doesn't it? No? Close by? No?
No, we haven't had any alerts for severe weather coming, so who's to say it could come? I don't know.
Clyde, don't worry. Hurricane season's coming, my friend.
Right.
Yeah, she's already worried.
Well, I mean, they're saying it's going to start in May.
Yeah, they say that every year.
Oh, well, no, there's one supposed to be 4 months.
And sometimes it does.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it does.
I'd rather be.
Iowa and Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay, ma'am, I will say a prayer tonight for sure for protection and safety. And maybe it can just dwindle itself down.
Right.
Unramp. Well, I'll say a prayer for that area.
Right. Are they talking about rain and hail and wind, or what kind of severe risk, high risk?
I don't know. I thought I heard hail and wind and a lot of rain is what I thought I heard when I was listening. It's going up in that path.
Hi,
Tornadoes.
Sag.
Tornadoes. Yes, Sag. That's what I thought I heard too. Tornadoes. And Sag, are you in that area too? Large hair tornadoes and heavy rain. Sag, are you in that area also? So we know to add you to our prayers and our protection. All right. Well, we will add you to the prayers and make sure, pray you're protected. And if
Keep
Maybe
you
you don't,
safe.
yeah, that you're safe and that the kind of ramps down instead of ramping up.
Right. Right.
Um, so we're going to do conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories are always things that people think may be. Um, you never know. You're a storm chaser, Sag.
Wow.
How fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Um, so it could it's conspiracies always something that they don't have enough information or proof to make it true.
Right.
But a lot of times it comes to fruition and is true.
Right.
So, who wants to start this show?
I will because it's an old one.
Okay, go for it.
Princess Diana's death.
Okay.
I don't know. There's something about it that just doesn't seem right. I mean, we all know that she was killed in a tunnel, you know, from a drunk driver, which was supposed to be her chauffeur. But the catch is, if your son has publicly stated that he believes that she faked her own death or that she's still alive somewhere, then I mean, come on, you were 11 or 12 years old when your mom died and you believe that she could still possibly be alive and that at some point you'll meet up together again? It it doesn't make sense. And there's so many things, about it. First they said the paparazzi was chasing them. Second, they said no, they weren't. Then, the driver was drunk, and then no, he wasn't. How many of us watched that video of the driver walking out and he wasn't drunk? Or he
Well,
was
isn't it
he
saying
was tipsy?
Prozac too? I heard that. I thought I heard that he was on
That what?
He was on Prozac or something. Also, I've heard all kinds of different things the driver was on.
Right.
But he wasn't hurt, was he? When he walked away, he didn't have a scratch on him.
Well, and that's my whole thing is how in the world hitting a pillar, how did two people in the back seat die when the driver didn't, just the passenger in the front seat did? It doesn't make any sense. How did two people in the back seat get killed? And the dad of Dodi is the one really pushing the fact that he believes it was either a British assassination or that they're still alive. And nobody sent him the memo that they're still alive. So, could it have been a British assassination? But then why would this 30-year-old man be saying he believes that his mother could still be alive somewhere? I mean, that's a big pill to swallow if you think about it.
Right.
I mean, did he hear things in the castle or, that he shouldn't have overheard? Did he hear grandma talking? Did he hear dad talking? I'm sure that he's talked to Dodi's dad because he's a billionaire. Billionaires wouldn't just start a rumor.
Right.
So, unless they just didn't let him in on it, the fewer people that knew, the better. I mean, maybe they did get banged up in the accident, but then they went out the back door like Michael Jackson did. I mean, that's my thoughts and theory on the theory is there's more to the story, and I hope one day we're around to see what it is.
Right.
Me personally, I don't think she's dead. I just don't, because she was talking to the EMS. Now, I'm not saying, the Pope was talking and he died a few hours later too. I'm not saying because she was talking, she could still be alive, but it just doesn't make sense. If she was talking to the EMTs, then how did she succumb to they didn't have seatbelts on. I've been in a car accident, a serious car accident with no seatbelt. And I'm sitting here and I was in the front seat. I mean, I got thrown around the car. It looked like I got beat up. I had bruises everywhere, and like the whole side of my jaw was like black because I hit and my shoulder. I hit the dashboard and I hit the ashtray, and then I went into the steering wheel
Wow.
with no seatbelt on. But I mean, you're talking this was 40 years ago.
Well, wasn't that? Well, look how long it's been since that happened to Princess Di.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not too much longer after that.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was in 97.
You know, there's a lot of those conspiracy theories. Like they don't think that Jim Morrison is gone, right? Isn't that
Mhm.
true, Clyde? They think that Jim Morrison faked his. We
Yeah.
all know, we just came out, we all know that Hitler faked his.
Mm-hmm.
I think Elvis faked his.
I do too. You know, there's a documentary on, I believe, Tubi,
Hmm.
that has a guy named Joel Gilbert, I believe, has a documentary that said that he found Elvis alive. But this is going back years.
Hmm.
He found Elvis alive in California and did an interview with him. But because he's in the witness protection program, they can't show his face, but you can see the outline and you can see his hands and stuff. Just the face is blurred.
Right.
And it sounds just like him. And there's stories that he tells that nobody else would know, really. You know? I
Well,
mean, did you ever know that his mama drank?
Elvis's?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. She drank whenever he was away. And when he was in the army, that's what killed her, is that she was drinking so much because he was so far away. When he
Wow.
was
I
in
didn't
the
know
army.
that.
Yeah.
Well, they say they feel like Bob Joyce is really Elvis,
Right.
the preacher, and there's a interview with Priscilla where she said if Elvis was still alive today, he would be preaching somewhere and doing gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
Do they know? I mean, this is all conspiracy, but you
Right.
know, I've went and seen so many people that are Elvis impersonators that it's just not there.
No.
It's just not there.
No.
The tone of his voice isn't there. The way he holds himself, the way he and
Right.
Bob Joyce has all of those tendencies. Now, whether he's just that good, but this is what I've got to say about that. They said that Elvis turned state's evidence
Mm-hmm.
against the mafia,
Mm-hmm.
and then he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
His tombstone doesn't have Aaron spelt right,
Right. There's 2 A's.
right? And then this guy just appeared out of nowhere in the last, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Probably about
years.
4.
Yeah. And his voice, if you close your eyes and you listen, you would swear it's him.
Well,
The
did
way
you
he
ever?
pronounces his words, the way he's got that calm, I mean,
Mhm.
it's unbelievable.
Did you ever see that one video of the voiceover of him singing and Bob Joyce singing?
Mhm.
You know,
Hmm.
because I played that for my son, and he has a music studio, and so he has a very keen ear to tones and he says, I don't know, Ma. He says he sounds really close to him,
He does.
but I don't know. So
Well, and you know, age,
he,
what age would do to a voice, would be a little different too, but
Right.
his pronunciation of different words is the same.
Right.
The height is the same. The shoe size is the same. The right finger, pinky is broken. I mean, you can keep adding up. Hello, Norm. Happy Sunday. Conspiracy Sunday. Is it real or is it Memorex?
Well, and I mean, and why did Bob Joyce from Alabama, I believe, or Arkansas? Why did he go to Memphis to do Lisa Marie's funeral?
I know that's another good question. And then
Right? That's
they
weird.
see him running in and out of Graceland all the time. Why
That's
is he
weird.
running out of there? They said that when you go to Graceland, I've never been,
I have.
but they say you can't go upstairs.
Nope.
And they say it's all roped off, and that's where Bob Joyce goes. So I don't know. I guess someday we'll all know the real answer, but it sure seems like him.
And they also said that his bedroom, Elvis's bedroom, has not been touched. It is still the same, the way it looked the day he died.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah. No, I was there. I mean, it's a beautiful house, but it's not as big as people think it is. I mean, it is. Honestly, I think it would. I think my mom's house is not too much smaller than his.
Wow.
The only difference is that there's a staircase when you first walk in the foyer to
Mhm.
go upstairs, and then off the kitchen there's another staircase to go upstairs.
Is the property big?
Yeah, the property is big, but the house it's really not. If I had to guess, I would say that house is between 27 and 2,900 square foot, and my mom's is almost 21.
Wow.
But it's like chopped up. You know what I mean? It's not a open floor plan. They didn't have those back then, and
No.
everything is still preserved the way it was. You know, because off to the left was a dining room. I want to say the dining room was damn near as big as the living room. So that's not that big, because all he had in there was a couch and a chair and a coffee table, and then in a little tiny area in the back behind that, there was a piano that was only big enough for one person to be sitting back there to play the piano. Not like anybody could gather around the piano or anything.
Right.
Then you go in the back, and the kitchen is like, if you cut my mom's kitchen, is like over here is the cooking stuff, and over here is the table. So if you took away the eating area from my mom's, the kitchen's the same size, which is not very big. I mean, it's in a U shape, but it's not very big at all. I mean, there's hardly any counter space. And that's exactly how it was at his house. And then off of that was the family room, they called the jungle room.
The
Yeah,
jungle room.
Yeah, the jungle room. And that really wasn't that big.
Wow.
So, and and then the basement was cut up into rooms. He had the pool room, the yellow room,
Was that because it was painted those colors?
Well, the yellow room was painted yellow, yeah. And the pool room had a pool table in it. Yeah. And then there was a little area on the back side of the property that his dad used to have his office in, right by the stables.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been blessed enough to go. We never got there on Clyde. Never got to Tennessee. But I know that that's one of the prettier states, Tennessee is.
And the garden is just beautiful with the pool and the garden. It's just beautiful. That area is just beautiful. I'm not saying the inside isn't beautiful, but it's stuck in the 60s and 70s.
Freddie Fender is from this area, and he had his mansion on Ocean Drive, which overlooks the ocean. But in his backyard, he had a guitar-shaped swimming pool. Looked like a guitar. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I believe if I remember correctly, Elvis is a kidney-shaped pool.
Yeah, and this one looks like a guitar with the strings and the whole bit.
And I think, I mean, obviously, you can't. The rooms are roped off. You can't go in the rooms. Like it's roped off. You can look at the living room, but you can't go in and sit down on the furniture or anything.
Right.
And if
Right.
I'm not mistaken, I believe that little area that had the piano, the windows looks out onto the pool. But don't quote me on that. But I think that's the pool was right outside that.
Wow.
The pool was right on the side of the house.
I'll bet he had another house somewhere else too. A bigger one somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah, and then there was an area where all of like Lisa Marie's crib and Priscilla's wedding gown, and they had his set of keys, and they had his wallet. I mean, it's all under glass, but
Sure.
you know. And then you can go over to the museum where there's cars and all his music awards and everything. Unbelievable top to floor music awards.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they're like 20-foot high walls, if not higher.
Look at her. What is she looking at?
She's looking at you.
What are you looking at, Misha?
Looking out the back door.
Oh,
But yeah, it's a beautiful house,
yeah.
you know, but it's really not as big as people think it is. Like when you think mansion, you think, and the way they show it on TV, it looks like this sprawling mansion.
It does.
And it's really not. It's a
There's got to
modest.
be a lot of secrets there, you know. And
Oh, I'm sure.
taking it back to your original, can you imagine the secrets that are in the castles? With
Yeah.
Right?
the deepest,
Yeah.
dark secrets of Europe are all wrapped up into those castles.
In that castle. Well,
Right.
that's like the Vatican. Can you imagine all the secrets
Oh,
that are
God.
there in the Vatican?
What's
Yeah.
in the
Right.
in the basements there.
That's weird because my mom told me today that there have been 241 or 246 popes. I can't remember which one she said. There had been 240 something popes.
Hmm. That's a lot. Well, I mean,
2,000 years.
yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
So that's one about every, 10 years?
Yeah. Well, we were talking, Clyde and I were talking about it, and who was the oldest, who was the Pope that was there the longest? And I thought, well, wasn't Pope Francis there a long time? The one that was before the German Pope? I can't remember what his name was. But wasn't he there quite a while? And I think, Clyde, you said no, it was 1800s, wasn't it?
Sometime in the late 1800s, there was one there some 30 years or so.
Oh, wow.
We were looking that up. Who was the longest? Who was the shortest? And
Well, you know, my thing is on that. I wouldn't want to be the Pope because it's a death sentence.
yeah,
Yeah, you're,
literally. Hmm.
yeah, you're there till,
Right.
Not,
You
I don't
know-
know. Maybe one or two have ever stepped down, but
Yeah. I know one for sure.
the one from Germany.
Yeah.
hmm It happens, but it's very rare. They're there till they die.
And
It's
the
like some of
Pope,
our first people, you know.
this Pope that just died,
Right.
this Pope that just died is not being buried at the Vatican like all the others.
I heard that.
There's 8 popes that are buried by a church that's close by, but it was all in Italian, so my mom didn't understand it, but she said something about Blessed Mary, some kind of church with Blessed Mary in it or something. And he'll be the 8th one buried there.
You could come up with a conspiracy on that one.
Oh yeah.
You know, how come he's not with the rest of them? Is this the ones that did bad or didn't follow?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. You could make up something.
Well, according to what they reported, was that he said he didn't want any pomp and circumstance.
Oh, okay.
He didn't want it, no gold, he just wanted a plain wood box. And
Wow.
that's what I guess he had, was a plain wood box for the coffin. And yeah, he wanted no show, no gimmicks, no nothing, just
Wow.
so.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They put on a show.
All right, Clyde, tell us about your conspiracy for this week.
Well, it's not so much a conspiracy. At least I don't look at it like that. It's more First Amendment type. What we do here, we're talking. We got pretty much to say what we want to say, and this kind of goes back to the days. It was 50s and 60s as a stand-up comedian named Lenny Bruce, and I'd heard a thing on it, and it got me intrigued, and I started going down this, looking for stuff on him and what he stood for, and he was really the first comedian that got up and basically spoke his mind. He swore, he talked sex, he talked things that you didn't talk about in the late 50s when he got up on stage.
Right.
And it led to the government going after him and silencing him. Now he was probably drinking a lot and doing stuff before, but it pushed him down a road to where he ended up, supposedly killing himself, overdosing on morphine. And it pretty much, the judges were to the point where we killed this guy. We pushed him, we silenced him so much that he ended up pushing himself to where he died, ended up killing himself. But the whole story is just fascinating when you hear how the government shut him down, kept trying to keep him quiet. And he'd go up on stage, do his thing, and next you know he's getting arrested. And you think about back in that time, and he passed away in 66. So, I mean, this is not something that just happened, I was just born that year. So it's kind of interesting to think that all this was going on before, but the Richard Pryors and the people that came after him that were swearing on stage and saying the N-word and all that stuff. And he was making comments about it and making jokes and had his thing going. And it just very interesting. And then you start hearing how the government went after him, but there's other ones that have come out today, whether they're news people or you can talk government officials, you can talk Donald Trump, and how they're trying to silence people now. And what's silencing them? The big corporations, the Don Imuses of the world that got ousted out of CBS or wherever he was for talking about nappy-haired women. And
Remember that?
He couldn't have said it, but the corporations went after him after CBS saying, we're not going to sponsor and advertise on this, and they ended up letting him go. And when you go back to Lenny Bruce, it was fascinating to keep hearing how they just were beating him up over and over. He tried to go to trial. He really thought he had a case for what he was putting forward, and they would just shut him down, just completely shut him down, and it just wore him out. And he was going into courts. He was going into court so messed up and high, and just head down, and just he finally gave up. And the crazy thing is when they found him dead, some people say they used to do this to black people. They'd put a syringe in their arm and they pull their pants down. So when they take pictures, they'd find him, dead on the toilet or dead in the bathroom with his pants down, shooting up.
Right.
And I never heard anything like that, but that's how they found this guy. And Phil Spector went in out of courtesy and bought all the negatives so that they wouldn't go out. And all the negatives have been hid all these years. Nobody's seen them. And so it was a very interesting story, and the correlation of how as time goes on, nothing's changed. People get offended by speech, and
right.
free speech is free speech. You
I
know,
think that's hi Donna. I think that's why the comedy aspect has gone downhill
hmm
is because everybody gets offended over everything.
they get politically correct, and yeah, it was really interesting to hear some of the other comics that were up there talking about him. You know, like this guy paved the way for a lot of people, and
Uh-huh.
some of them didn't even know about him, and they've been comics for 5 years or so. They had to go back and say, hey, who was this guy? And then
Yeah.
finally they realized, oh wow, he is the reason why we do this today. And
That's like I remember Dean Martin when I was little.
Yeah.
mhm,
I wasn't allowed to watch his show. He had a show on TV
yeah,
and he had those roasts
Yep. Yep.
and I wasn't allowed to watch the roast. They said that he's got a potty mouth is what I was told.
oh,
And then now that I go back and look on it, it's like those roasts were, you know, something else what they used to say.
they got deep. I like the analogy that the one person brought up about Lenny was he took a mirror and was showing society this is what you look like, and he took it up on stage, and society didn't want to hear it. They didn't want that coming out, and that was the biggest thing is shutting it down. And that was
Right.
50s and 60s, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it's they were pretty heavy-handed back then, and it was against the law. You couldn't go in out there and use the F-bomb and
But then
vulgarity.
Clyde, explain where stand-up comics come from in the first place.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting thing too. They did the strip clubs. They were the introducers to the strip clubs. They would get up, tell 5-10 jokes, and then introduce the strippers to the stage. And that's
Wow.
where stand-up comedy came from. And that's where he got his start. And his mom was a stripper from what I understand, and he married a stripper and divorced that stripper, and but it's like that's where stand-up comics came from.
Well, and you know what? That's a very good thing because that's when they started making comedy clubs and forgot about the strippers.
Mhm.
You're right.
Oh man, we can still have both.
That's funny. Well, and then we were talking, it's really funny that he got so much grief over it. And then I'll tell you, I've never heard a more vulgar, nasty mouth comedian as Red Fox was.
Yes, and so was Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, they picked on this guy, and Red Fox was. My mom ended up telling us we had to shut him off.
Mm-hmm.
The Chorus Girls, was that nasty too?
Yeah. But before you give your conspiracy,
Yep.
Connie,
Yep.
we're gonna do it's for a shirt.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Then I have a trivia question. We'll see.
Who's first?
Okay. Pocahontas was baptized and given an English name. What was her English name?
Wow. I think Pocahontas was hanging around the Smith brothers. She came up with cough drops. She was with the whatever brothers that had the cough syrup.
Yeah.
Ricola. No. Oh, that was a different country. So I'm sorry.
Yep, it was.
And
Right.
if the dog has something to say. And if nobody gets it, I have another one that's a little bit easier that
Can
more
we
people
Google it?
might know. Huh?
Google it.
I've probably heard it before, but
Yeah, I probably have too, but
I have to go back and research that.
I'm surprised Donna doesn't know the answer to that. Because she's the history buff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Pocahontas is Rebecca.
Seg got it.
Really?
Yep.
Very good. Rebecca, interesting.
Yeah.
Rebecca.
That's
Wow.
a t-shirt.
Seg, do you want your t-shirt? Or do you want to give it to somebody else? It doesn't have Trump's name on it.
Right?
I don't know if you saw it or not. But if you do, please tell me what size.
And
Email me the size and your address to caddyconnie@gmail.com. So I know to send the right size shirt. They're nice. You don't want it. He doesn't want it. Seg doesn't want it. I don't know who else would want it. So ask your next trivia question.
Well, if nobody wants a shirt,
I'll wear it.
All right.
I can ask another trivia question just to do it to see who knows.
Or just roll this shirt into the next one on Monday.
Originally, okay, here's another trivia question. Originally, Amazon only sold what kind of product?
Oh, wow. Wow. Rebecca Rofe. Or Rolf. Roof. That's a German last name. Books.
Yep.
Okay, Donna. I'm sending you a shirt. You're like, I already know that. So now you got two of them. Would you please tell me another size? Maybe you can give it to Travis. All right, now I'm going to do my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Nope. Nope. Okay, my conspiracy for this evening. Well, you already know that I've already talked about how I don't believe that Epstein was knocked off because of the crowd he kept, right? I think, in fact, I will almost guarantee you the man's still alive. But if you go into the witness protection program with our government, you lose your name and your identity, and you can become whoever it is that you want. So, the person that set up, I know that everybody feels like that Epstein got his start from being with the guy that owns Victoria's Secrets. But there's actually another person ahead of him, and it goes up in steps higher and higher, right? So when they were through and they thought he'd made enough and was starting to become, I don't want to say too wealthy, but I want to say he was getting too much eyes on him, which would bring the eyes over to them. They brought him down. Did they bring him down? I think they just took him out of the scene. I think the man is still alive. But what is interesting is the same people, the same person that started Epstein, bless you, also started Diddy. So Diddy got a little big for his britches too and started getting a little too much stuff going in his direction. And now this same person is bringing him down. Epstein and Diddy knew each other. They were very good friends. Here's my thing. Everybody knows that Virginia Giuffre died today. That was one of the biggest witnesses for the Epstein trial and everything else. In fact, Virginia's the one that brought down Prince Andrew. Well, she's gone now. She was gone as of today. They went in. What did they go in and do a wellness check? Why they went in to find her is beyond me. But they went in and they found her non-responsive. If the person or people, not person, it's the people that control all this narrative, are big enough to take Diddy down, big enough to take Epstein down, and the president of the United States, being Clinton, was all involved in it. He couldn't save him. Why did anyone think that Virginia had a chance? She was writing a book.
Mm.
The book never came out. It never got finished. This is what I'm telling you about our government and these high elite people that say, hey, you know what? I'll do whatever I want to. I'll set up whoever I want to. And you know, if you get a little too powerful, I'll take you down too. I made you. Yeah, see, KMM, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, okay, they said that Foster did the same thing. He committed suicide. But then when you get to really looking at all the information, Foster, what was his first name? The Clinton Foster.
Oh, I don't know.
Bob Foster,
Bob Foster.
I think, something like that.
If he committed suicide, he was a very, very talented man because his hands were tied behind his back and a bullet in his head. I don't know. He must have used his feet for his gun. I don't know very many people that can do that. I'm just saying, guys, it's easier just to say, hey, it's a suicide.
Right. Right.
And then all the paperwork gets tossed aside and gets buried with a whole bunch of other stuff, and no one ever knows the difference.
Yep.
This year, we found out that Hitler faked his own death. This year, just recently, it came out.
Mhm.
Yes, it came in. I believe it was not suicidal. They took her down. And anyone that has that kind of information that she had better be watching their backs.
Yep.
Another thing I wanted to bring up real quick is I know that I've talked to everybody about keep your head on a swivel. Things are going to get ready to get bad. Watch what's going on around you. The signs are here, guys. They're here. Last night, it happened in Vancouver, but somebody took a car and ran it into a festival with a whole lot of, what were they? They were Asian people.
It was an Asian festival.
Yeah. And killed a lot of people.
It seems to
Senseless.
be the choice.
Then we've got, wasn't anybody curious about the big wildfire that burnt thousands and thousands of acres in New Jersey?
I didn't even hear about it.
It was right next to a nuclear plant.
Mm.
What signs are here? We're seeing signs of disruption. We're getting ready to see signs. We're getting ready to see signs of, Seg, how it says in the Bible, there will be fights and deaths in the streets. To go into your house, shut your door, lock your door, stay in your house for 3 days. It'll be 3 days of dark. We're there. We're almost there. And I think what's going to happen, well, I don't think, I'm pretty well aware that we have a lot of sleeper cells that are sitting in the United States. And I think they're just waiting for the go ahead, do your thing. This is the time. We've talked about prepping. We've talked about how you can keep your house lit, how you can store up food, cans, rice, beans. I mean, not the kind of things that we would like to have. I know we'd like rather have steak and baked potatoes, but just to have the stuff on hand because
Yeah.
it's going on. It's going on and it's going on too frequent.
Yep.
Now we have, here's my thing, guys. Let me ask you guys a question. And I asked Clyde this question and he just he gave me a pretty good answer, but I want to hear your answer. Ukraine is fighting with Russia. Pakistan is fighting with India now, right? That just took off.
It's been going on for many years, but that was a
But it just
yeah, they had that big terrorist attack.
so it just took off.
Mm-hmm.
We have the United States threatening Iran, right? We've got all this stuff going, guys. Israel's fighting with Iran and fighting with Gaza and all this stuff going on, all these wars and rumors of wars. And the Pope dies. Follow me here. And the Pope dies. And if you look at the Pope's funeral, all the dignitaries were there. Now, I don't know how you feel. Maybe I'm a pretty narrow-minded person, but if I'm going to go to war with somebody, I'm not too happy with them. And I don't want to sit next to them in church while all my people are fighting and dying.
Right.
I don't think I want to share the hymnal. But they do. This last pope, the last pope, I don't think so. I think we've got one more. But I'm going to say this. Yeah, we've got more mosques in Texas than we've ever had. And I'm telling you, this is a predominantly Hispanic area, so it should be a lot of Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's really funny? I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is what makes me giggle about religion, okay? You go into a little town that has a population of 15, 20,000. You have one Catholic church. You have one Presbyterian church. And you have 3 or 4 Baptist churches because the Baptists never can get along.
Right.
So when they get mad, they just break off and go open another Baptist church. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
if we just were non-denominational and followed what the Bible says, then instead of making it whatever we want to hear.
Well, you know what?
Okay, see, there you go, Seg. That's exactly it. If there's one more pope, then the other pope will be wrong.
But could it be a pope like we've never had before?
Well, the last one was like a pope like we never had before. Or will the next pope be the what is it in the Bible? It is the prophet, right? That comes to tell you about how wonderful the Antichrist is. Just saying. And I'm telling you, Catholicism is the biggest religion in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is the biggest religion in the world.
It's the biggest organized crime.
Yeah.
That's organized crime.
Well, there was a lot of shady things about different things that I questioned this last pope about, like his snake-built church, but or his statue that was and his crucifix was really scary. Did you see the crucifix in his church? I'm going to show it. Um, let me see here. It's really kind of scary.
Yeah, I really thought that they were going to take down the Catholic religion
There's too many.
when all those priests were getting arrested and stuff.
There's too many. It's one of the, well, Scientology was growing there for a while.
Yeah,
It L. Ron Hubbard believes you just drop the meat bag and continue on to another one. That was a
right.
weird religion. Let me see here. Okay, let me see. Okay, I want to show you this. This is where, this is weird. This is where our Pope, the one that just passed away, preached from. Okay, I want you to see the hall that he preached from. This is really kind of scary. This is the reason they call it the snake building.
Yep.
These are the two eyes here are glass windows, the lights at the top, the fangs. This is where the Pope talks. This aisle that comes down it at night lights up in red,
Mm-hmm.
like a tongue. This building was built for this recent Pope. Now, this is what I wanted you to see. You tell me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but this is just weird to me to have this crucifix behind you while you're preaching. What is this?
Right.
What is this? This strays so far from any religious anything. I don't even know where you wrap your brain around any of that. But there he is, guys. There's the Pope, and everybody's standing there, and he's doing his thing. If he wants to preach in front of that kind of stuff, well, this guy's been around a while too. If he wants to preach in front of this kind of stuff, and he wants to have this kind of stuff, it's kind of eerie.
Yeah.
What's with that? I just, I don't know. But I do believe we're going to have another one. I do. I believe there's going to be another one. We're waiting for the white smoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be by the end of the week. We'll have a new Pope.
Well, there you go. And aren't they saying that they're thinking about the one from South Africa?
I don't know if it's South Africa or just Africa.
Yeah.
I don't know what part.
Nigeria.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll see how all that plays out. I'm just here to don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to tell you that if you haven't been prepping, you need to be prepping. And if you're not ready, you need to be ready. And when everything goes askew, which it's going to go askew the minute these people are told to do what they're supposed to do. This is the reason they were brought in here. If you don't stay in your house and let it play itself out instead of getting out in the middle of all of it, just let it play itself out.
Right. And I'm sure more areas some areas will have it worse than others.
Big cities will have it. Big cities will have it really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep yourself in your house. You're not going to have, and there'll be a time. This I know. This I've seen. There's going to be a time when I can't reach out to you guys. We're not going to have internet.
Right.
for a
It'll
little
be
while.
down.
We're not going to have internet. We're not going to have communications. This is the time. You have your books, you have your Bible, you have your VCR, if you have one, or your CD, and you just do your thing, and you just wait. Just like in the Bible when they put the blood on the door, just wait it out.
Yep.
It's going to get better.
Yep.
There, we have too much more to go before Jesus comes back.
Yep. Well, it's that time. 9 days of mourning, then conclave.
Mm-hmm.
So does that start on the day he dies? I was the one raised Catholic. I don't know that.
So is Clyde. Is it 9 days of mourning and then the conclave?
Have no idea.
I don't either.
And you went to parochial school.
Yes, I did.
Me too.
And so did Clyde.
I wore the blue shirt.
What did you learn in there?
I had the tie and everything. I was an altar boy.
How about that? And he doesn't know. All right. That's funny, guys.
That
Daddy
is funny.
Altar boy.
9 days from the funeral. There you
So
go.
2 weeks, basically.
There you go. Well, guys, it's been an awesome Sunday. Thanks for joining us. I love each and every one of you. We're going to get through this. It's going to be a dark time. I've warned y'all ahead of time. I keep saying it, but just keep your head on a swivel. Watch the signs. They're all around. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy in New Jersey just decided he was going to just set a bonfire and just leave.
Oh, lucky you, KMM. She was the only sibling that didn't go to Catholic school.
We had a parochial school that was in the field behind us, but I was
That's a whole nother discussion of the nuns at parochial school. Oh, yeah, they were something else. But yes, thank you for your love and support. And we'll be back tomorrow.
We will be here tomorrow. And like I said, keep your head on a swivel. Watch around you. When you go to the grocery store, pick up a couple cans extra. It doesn't matter. You can always use it. It's not like it's going to go to waste. If I am lying and I am not telling the truth, then you got extra food, right? But if I'm telling you what I think, what I know, then you're going to be prepared. Love you all. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Oh. That was bad. Bye.